10 years, a decade. I'm celebrating my 10th anniversary at the University of Rhode Island as the director of our Gender and Sexuality Center. When I started at URI, marriage equality didn't exist yet in the United States. Black Lives Matter didn't yet exist. We were and still are fighting many of the same battles we were a decade ago. Our campus's Gender and Sexuality Center was located in 4 rooms in Adams Hall, making it inaccessible to most and mainly closeted to everyone. Let me start by saying I'm beyond proud of all that we've accomplished together in the last decade. Here are just a few of the highlights of how we've transformed our campus community in 10 years' time. Designing and opening the first Gender and Sexuality Center in the United States, built from the ground up. Creating Big Gay Picnic, Coming Out Month, next year to be LGBTQ History Month, Trans Awareness Week, and Lavender Graduation. Seeing 4 new scholarships for LGBTQ students come to fruition. Launching gender-inclusive housing. Quadrupling the number of gender-inclusive bathrooms on campus. Establishing the Trans Inclusion Committee and the work that we're about to lay down in the spring of 2022. Setting annual event highlights such as Drag Ball, Community Brunch, Queer Prom, Trans Day of Remembrance, Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Trans Day of Visibility, just to name a few. Creating our name and diploma processes. Initiating gender-inclusive healthcare. Implementing the entire Safe Zone program, complete with 6 different educational tracks. Responding to student needs with a variety of support groups run out of the Gender and Sexuality Center and other centers on campus. Completing assessment on campus that proves 24.5% of our campus community identifies as LGBTQA+. Designing a mindfulness space in our Gender and Sexuality Center to launch in February of 2022. And that's just the tip of the iceberg for all of the work, sweat, tears, joy, and laughter that our students, staff, faculty, and community have put into LGBTQ inclusion at URI. But we've also endured a plethora of barriers to true inclusion. Many of these challenges have come to a head in the last 2 years as we've seen our trans and non-binary students come forward in unprecedented numbers to speak truth to power in an incredible fashion. We know that our trans students in particular are the most likely of any minoritized population at URI to report that they do not feel like they belong on campus. That is unacceptable. We can and must do better. I invite you to join me and our whole community in the coming years to make a demonstrable difference towards trans inclusion. In the words of D.L. Stewart, quote, "People can talk about, yeah, I'm an ally, and do nothing to advance the cause of justice and equity, to disrupt systems of power and privilege. To be an accomplice means you engage in the work as assistant to the people who are actively involved. In essence, you're driving the getaway car. It's time for all of us to step up to be accomplices to those who need us. Take their lead, but be ready to stand on that line and fall. That's what we all have to do, to know that our justice and equity is intertwined. Your liberation depends on mine." Brene Brown talks about being in the arena with a quote from Teddy Roosevelt. "It's not the critic who counts. It's not the one who points out how the strong one stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done it better. No, the credit belongs to the person who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred with blood and sweat and dust, who at the best in the end knows the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if they fail daring greatly." At the end of the day, every day, it's about showing up. How are you showing up? Who are you showing up for? Are you showing up for our trans kin? How? How do you drive the getaway car in your world every single day? I'd like to end on 2 thoughts. First, lyrics of a song from the Chicks. "I'm not ready to make nice. I'm not ready to back down. I'm mad as hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. I continue in my role as the director of our Gender and Sexuality Center with a fierce determination that is centered around one thing: making URI the most LGBTQ plus friendly campus in the United States. Period. I want our queer and trans students to know that I am fighting for you every single moment of every single day. I care about you. You matter. I love you. You're at home here. Your family is here. And we're waiting for you at the Gender and Sexuality Center. Come see us. Get to know our community. I promise it'll be one of the best choices you've ever made. Finally, thank you for letting me serve our community for this long. I have some defining words from Bell Hooks. She said, "A generous heart is always open, always ready to receive our going and coming. In the midst of such love, we need never fear abandonment. This is the most precious gift true love offers, the experience of knowing we always belong. At the Gender and Sexuality Center, with me at the helm, I can promise you that, if nothing else. You can come and go as you please, and know that you always belong."